Yeah.
You're getting phone calls, people wanting to trade horses and mattresses and who knows what.
Welcome to Talking Shop. I'm Clint Newell, president of Clint Newell Auto Group in Roseburg, Oregon. Talking Shop is a show where I sit down with some of our employees here at the dealership to discuss current topics in the auto industry. From time to time, I'll also sit down with members of the local community to discuss other business topics and current events. We'll share insights and stories about business, community, and what's going on today. You can anticipate learning tips and tricks on how you can save money at the dealership, get better deals, and take better care of your vehicle. And hear some awesome stories from successful people in our community. I hope you enjoy, and thank you for listening to Talking Shop. I'm Clint Newell, and welcome to our second episode of Talking Shop. I'm here today with Scott Simpson, our used vehicle manager here at Clint Newell Auto Group. Scott's been our manager here for the past 12 years. Has a lot of experience both on the new and used car side and the car business. And so today I thought we'd talk about used cars a little bit, Scott. First thing is obviously new car, used car. Why do a lot of people look to choose used? What's the motivation for most buyers? What's their primary interest?
No price, savings over, you buy a new Tahoe, let's say, for 70 grand, you can pick up a used one for 50, 55.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody's driven for a year, 12 to 15,000 miles.
Sure.
Lets people test out that product maybe before they decide to go new.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a lot of that.
Yeah, obviously going out and finding the right used car for the specific person can be a challenge. What's the best way to look for a used vehicle today?
Online.
Yeah.
Our website, even use some of the third-party websites, and most of the time the customer comes back to our website, but there's a lot of data, a lot of research you can do online.
Mm-hmm.
Find the car you want, kind of narrow down your choices, and then obviously come in to look at them and drive them.
What are some of the challenges that people typically deal with when they're shopping for a used car online? What are the roadblocks? What are the hurdles?
Mostly is trying to find the interior that they want as far as like the seating.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at pictures online, but until you actually come in and sit in one, maybe the headroom doesn't fit you, maybe the car doesn't drive like you would think it would. Road noise is a big one. A lot of things you can look at online, but you can't really tell what the vehicle's like till you get in and drive it. So.
Right. Obviously, with a used car, there's a lot more unknown than there is with a new car. So figuring all that stuff out can be a little tricky. How do buyers best mitigate that? How do you figure out that you're not getting stuck with a lemon?
Well, that's why I recommend they come buy from us. We stand behind everything that we sell. We inspect everything that we sell. If you're buying something private party, you a lot of times don't know what you're getting into. The inspections that we do on the vehicle, running the auto checks and the Carfax and the history,
Mm-hmm.
Gives people a little bit of peace of mind what they're buying and knowing what they're getting into and knowing there's a dealer there that's going to stand behind it like we do.
Sure. So obviously, every used car has a different story behind it. What types of cars make the best used cars, in your opinion?
Like you say, I've been here for 12 years, and I think I've maybe bought one car at the auction in the 12 years that I've been here. We have the luxury of most of the vehicles that we sell here new, we get traded back in.
Mm-hmm.
So we know the history. We've done the service work on the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it easy for me to stand behind reselling that car, knowing that it's a car that, we originally sold.
Right. So obviously a car that we sold new, that we've maintained the whole time, that we know everything about, that's now available on the used car lots, probably the prime example of the perfect used car.
Yeah, when I can get access to all the service records, 90% of the time I would say I know the driver of that vehicle that traded it back in,
Mm-hmm.
either a personal friend or
Mm-hmm.
a customer that we've had here for a long time at this store. So
Right.
To me, those make the best used cars. Instead of trying to buy something that another dealer couldn't sell, they've sent it to the auction because there's a problem with the vehicle.
Right.
And then I buy it, try to put it through our shop, and either it won't
Mhm.
pass inspection and I have to either re-wholesale it, or, something we don't want to sell to a customer and pass that problem on.
Right. So obviously an unsold car sometimes unsold for a reason.
If there's a reason it's at the auction.
Right. You mentioned vehicle history reports, auto check, that sort of thing. Talk about vehicle history reports. What are they? Are there different ones? Obviously, everybody's familiar with Carfax, but not a lot of people are aware that there are a lot of other history reports out there that are pretty good.
Yeah, AutoCheck's the one we've been using now for about 10 years. Carfax had some issues in the past with missing a lot of things on the reports. We check where the vehicle came from, how many owners it's had, the service records on the vehicle. A lot of the flood state vehicles will show up if we see a car coming out of Louisiana, even Florida or Texas. We try to avoid those.
Right.
If there's accidents showing up on the AutoCheck, it's a car we won't take here and sell.
Right. Find out the details, see what was going on. Sure. Yep. You mentioned before, the difference between buying from a private party and a dealer. You hit some of those points already. Obviously, buying from a private party is a different process than buying from a dealer. So what are some things that people should keep in mind there in dealing with private parties?
Yeah. The big one is safety. You don't know who you're going to deal with a lot of times. If you're getting on Craigslist and you're going to meet up with the person, we have a lot of people who come in and have had a bad experience going to someone's home or trying to meet someone in a parking lot to buy a vehicle. You have no one there to stand behind the vehicle. What recourse do you have? You buy a car from someone off the street. You never see the person again. Maybe they're from out of town. Maybe they're in town. Financing, we're here to help with everyone with that, with what we have set up with all of our lenders.
Sure.
If you have a trade-in, rarely are you going to find a private party person that wants to take your trade. So
Right.
a lot of benefits the dealership brings to a customer trying to buy a vehicle.
Okay, so you mentioned trade-ins. Obviously, thus far we've talked about buying a used car, some of the things to keep in mind and what to look for, what resources are available. The other side of the used car is selling your used car. If you have a trade-in or something you want to sell, there's obviously a lot of choices there, decisions to be made. Why should somebody look to trade their car versus selling it on their own, or vice versa?
Yeah, same thing again. Probably the first thing on that list would be safety. You run an ad on Craigslist to sell your own car. You don't know who's going to show up to buy that. If you're going to run into a fake cashier's check, we've seen that a lot where people want to offer you a check, want you to go down and cash that check, and that ends up causing issues for you with your finances and your bank.
Right.
They want to trade you something.
Sure.
We hear that a lot. Customers come in, I tried selling this thing for 3 weeks, and you're getting phone calls, people wanting to trade horses and mattresses and who knows what.
Right.
And again, it's nice for us. We're going to make sure that your vehicle's paid off if there's an existing loan on that vehicle.
Sure. Yeah, financing definitely comes into play.
Exactly.
One thing that I've found over the years, too, that I think is worth mentioning is the price range of vehicle. If you got, just an older, less expensive used car, something that's, $2,000 to $5,000. That type of car is typically a little easier to sell on your own than the car that, say, is $30,000 or $40,000. When you get up into the higher price ranges of cars, those can be a lot more difficult to sell for an individual on their own versus the less expensive car that you can sell for cash.
Absolutely. I mean, those vehicles are hard for us to sell at times unless you know the product and you know that everything's been checked on the vehicle. The computer systems now and the electronics on these vehicles, you could look at $2,000 to $5,000 to replace something on that vehicle.
Right.
And knowing that you can buy it from us and it's warranted and we can put additional warranties on that and stand behind it. Like you say, if you're buying the car for $2,000 to $3,000, fine, something breaks, you're not out that much money. But if you're spending $50,000 on a used Denali,
right,
it's nice to know that a dealer's gone through it and checked everything.
Sure. So if somebody decides to trade their vehicle in, how do they know they're getting the best value for it?
We walk them through. So each of the sales reps have Kelley Blue Book available at their desks, on their phones and on their laptops. We encourage the customer to look up that number. We typically take that value in either good or fair condition, and we'll deduct once in a while if we need tires or a windshield.
Sure.
But we explain that to the customer and go through that with the customer. so that everybody's comfortable with where their trade value is going to be.
So you try to use a thorough set of analytics for the customer to
Correct.
go through.
We don't want it to be my number or the salesperson's number, or, for that matter, we don't want it to be the customer's number. We all want to kind of mutually agree on what the value of that vehicle is.
Get everybody on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. One thing we haven't touched on yet, certified used. You hear a lot about that. Factory certified used, certified this, certified that. Talk about certification. What's the story there? Explain how that differs from just a regular used car.
Yeah, so they go through a 160-point inspection on the Toyota certified process. I'll go through that one, I guess, since we sell a lot of the Toyota certified.
What about GM?
GM certified, same thing. Our warranty that we put on as the Clint Newell certified warranty is actually as good or better than the GM certified warranty. So I've stuck solely with using the Toyota process.
Right.
But we have a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on all of those Toyotas. They have to meet a certain mileage and age requirement before they even qualify to be certified. And then as they go through the inspection process, they have to pass as far as dents and scratches and odors and things like that will disqualify them if they don't meet those standards.
Right, very stringent inspection.
Very stringent.
Yeah. So how old can a certified used car be?
We can go back 7 years from the original in-service date or 85,000 miles.
Right.
From the current.
And with that, you're getting the 7100 powertrain warranty.
From the in-service date.
Plus,
so they qualify also for a 2-year, 24,000-mile roadside assistance. That's included from Toyota. We can also extend the bumper-to-bumper coverage out to 7100.
Right.
And it's a very minimal cost for adding that additional coverage.
So they can get a full extended warranty for just a little bit more.
Correct.
Versus a regular full extended warranty, which in some cases can be pretty expensive.
Correct. And again, most of the vehicles that we're certifying here either came from our fleet. Our rental car that we have is privately owned that we have through the Clint Newell Rental Department.
Right.
Much better than going through, say, a public rental. We all know how public rental cars get driven. Again, nice to know there are cars that we inspect weekly after we rent those out.
Right.
And again, the trades from the customers coming in, it's a Toyota that we sold new 2 to 3 years ago. Bring the car back in on trade, run it through the certification process, and then put it out on the lot for sale as a certified pre-owned.
So if a person's looking at a used Toyota that's within 7 years old, is there any reason that you wouldn't buy a certified used car versus a non-certified?
Yeah, in my opinion, I would never purchase a non-certified. For what they give you, what Toyota gives you, and how they stand behind it.
Right. Yeah, that's always, my observation is, if you're looking at, a Toyota that's within 7 model years old, so basically 2011 to 2018 at this point in time, why would you not look for a certified? Because, for what you get, it'd be crazy to give that up.
Well, and it kind of goes back to my point about the auctions. Why is that car not certified?
Right.
Was there an issue with that vehicle that disqualified it from certification? So other than it being on another lot where they're not allowed to certify a pre-owned Toyota.
Yeah.
If you see one private party and it's not certified, I'd avoid that vehicle. And
Yeah. What about financing? Obviously, that comes into play. You've touched on it a few times. People looking to sell their car, but the buyer needs financing. Obviously, we have financing set here with, national lenders, regional lenders. We have those bases covered as well as captive lenders with, General Motors and Toyota. But used car financing, is it different than a new car in your opinion? How does that process work in terms of rates, terms, what's available?
Yeah, for the vehicles we carry, there's not a lot of difference. Most everything we stock here on this lot is late model. The credit unions offer us the same rate on new as they do on used. A lot of times on certified pre-owned, we'll get special rates from Toyota. We'll get 0% for 60. We'll get 1.9 for 72, just like they offer on the new car side to kind of help push that
push the certified product. Yeah.
Yeah, and what Toyota has found from the meetings I've gone to is you get someone in a certified pre-owned vehicle, they drive that for a year or two, and a lot of times they become one of our new car customers.
Right.
Kind of gets them to test the waters.
They'll try it out and then decide the next time they want to go new.
They want to go new.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's been a good avenue for us to retain those customers and put them on the new car side as well.
Mm-hmm. What about the used car market in general, where it sits now looking forward? There's a lot of dynamics in play right now in the financial markets. What about vehicle supply? Is it going to increase? Is it going to decrease? Are values likely to get stronger? Are they likely to decline? What's your opinion on some of that?
Yeah, it's about as volatile as the market is right now. I think, truck values seem to go up always in the wintertime and the early spring. Car prices seem to dip a little bit. Mm-hmm. With the new car rebates that we've seen the last few years, it's really kind of put a little hurt on the used car values. Mm-hmm. Toyota used to never be in the game of putting large rebates on vehicles, and we've kind of seen a trend go the other way there the last couple of years.
Right.
So some of the Camry and the Corolla cars, they've taken a little bit of a hit over the last few years as far as values. Mm-hmm. But we're making up for that on the new car side with what we're able to sell those for now.
Sure.
So,
sure.
There's still good value there on trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Diesel pickups still doing very well, very hard to get. The supply, I've noticed the last few years, GM has kind of cut down on what they've built new on the diesel side, which is hurting us now trying to get the used diesels to put out on the lot.
Uh-huh. A lot of type models out there in terms of coming up with them, and that's always the battle. You always have the used car customer looking for the used car that doesn't exist yet.
Exactly,
and a lot of give and take there.
The used car factory, as we call it.
Exactly, yeah.
We all get the customer coming in wanting
what's coming out of the used car factory today. Yeah, that's right. Put in your orders.
Yep,
that's right. Good deal. Any final words? Somebody that's looking to buy a used car from us? Any suggestions?
Well, we've, for what it's worth, I guess, as far as the awards we've received here over the last 12 to 14 years, we've been the #1 used car store. Mm-hmm. Again, we stand behind our product. We do help people. If we do not have the vehicle in stock, we have avenues to go out and try to find them that vehicle, which we do quite often. Mm-hmm. We can search some of the other stores that are affiliated with us as far as your 20 group and some other avenues that we have to find.
A lot of resources.
Yeah, so we are a little bit of a used car factory in some aspects.
That's right. Good. Well, thanks for your time today, Scott. Scott Simpson, our used vehicle manager here at Clint Newell Auto Group. And hope you've enjoyed this little episode, our second episode of Talking Shop. We'll see you next time.